Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So we're actually going to be working on my good friend's G80. He's about to head over. Back Impact last weekend, he actually picked up the Kies Motorsports strut brace, which is an absolutely beautiful piece. You guys know that the G80, the S58, the strut brace on that motor is absolutely terrible. On the S55, it comes with a beautiful carbon fiber strut brace from the factory, but for whatever reason, BMW decided to put together a really crappy looking strut brace on the S58. So he was looking at a few different options of what to do. The first thing he was actually going to do was get the strut brace, the factory one, color matched to his color, which is Techno Violet. He has the Yare edition. But since we're at Impact, they were running a few deals and a few sales. He ended up picking up the beautiful carbon fiber Kies Motorsport strut brace. So he's about to head over. We're going to be installing it. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, kind of walk you through it, obviously show you all the details and everything. So looking forward to it. It should really clean up the engine bay and kind of tie everything off. So once it gets here, let's check it out and I'll show you how to install it. All right guys, buddy's G80 is here. If you guys are familiar, we just did a bunch of stuff on in his engine bay. We did a bunch of carbon stuff. All of the Downstar hardware and everything. We also did carbon mirror caps, but we are doing the strut bar and we got it over on the workbench. I'll show you guys in a little bit, but as you guys can see, BMW from the factory made a pretty terrible decision to make this 8-year-old welded strut brace in a beautiful S58. So I don't know what they were thinking. You guys know what it looks like on mine, the F80, beautiful carbon brace. So I don't know what they did here to cut costs or whatnot, but we got the Kies Motorsport one over here. As I mentioned, my buddy picked this up at Impact. Got a little bit of a deal on it since they were running a little bit off at Impact, but look how beautiful this thing is. The whole presentation, the boxing, everything about it is amazing. And it's insane how light this actually is. If you check out Brian's video from Kies showing how to install this, they actually go over all the renditions and versions they did to get to this point. It's pretty incredible. They actually started with a really thick bar. It was actually pretty heavy, and they ultimately went to, I think, about 5 different versions of it, of each different piece. So the different brackets here, the different tubing, actually different eyelets over here as well. So they went through, I think, about 10 months worth of work to get it to this point. They also give you choices of what bolt color to use, so you can either use the silver or the black. We're going to be using the black. I personally think that looks the best. They also give you tools and everything, which is really nice, so you don't mar up all the finish on the ends right here, which is really nice. But presentation's beautiful, and honestly, for what this thing costs, it definitely lives up to what this thing costs. So we're going to go ahead and get this installed, but first we actually need to remove this. This is pretty easy to remove. This is a little bit different in terms of the sizing. Stock up here, I believe, is a 15 millimeter bolt, and then up here is a 13. But since we have the Downstar hardware, we got a 12 millimeter and then a 6 millimeter Allen up front. So I'm going to go ahead and get that removed, and then we can start installing the Kies strut brace. All right, so we got the factory bracing off. That is not going back on the car. That is going in the garbage because the thing is ugly. But we're gonna go ahead and start installing the Kies piece. So we actually have to start installing the brackets first. So the strut braces on the side here, we're gonna install those, the front piece here, as well as the other side as well. But we're gonna be using the Downstar hardware that we already have. But install these brackets first. So this piece is simply just going to go right up front here. Kind of put the bolt right in. Now you don't want to tighten down everything super tight yet. You want to keep everything loose because you're going to be making some adjustments and everything. But we're going to go ahead and put all the brackets on loosely, and then we can go ahead and finally get the bar going across and everything. All right, first piece we're going to put on the front kind of V over here. As you can tell, it has a nice concave to it. They talked about kind of adding that detail in. It's got the nice keys there. So here's the Downstar hardware. going to move on to these pieces next. We're going to install them right there. But if you look, that side is smooth. This side is threaded. So you actually want the threaded part to be facing back. So you're going to be screwing them in this way. So you kind of want it oriented like this and like this. So you're going to have the threaded part facing towards the back of the car. All right, so we got all the brackets in, we got the nuts kind of loosely put in as well. So now we can actually start putting in the actual brace. So we're gonna start with this piece, which is the back brace that goes across the engine cover. Now, as you can see on each side, there's one reverse threaded and the other one normal threaded. So when you actually put it into place, you can spin the whole bar so it actually lines up with the holes over there. I'll show you once we get it to installing, but I thought that was a really cool feature to be able to kind of preload the bar when it's in the car, because basically all the other options that are available on the market, it's just a piece of metal and you can't preload it. So this is, you actually change up the preload if you really wanted to, depending on how much power you have. But really, really cool design. So let's go ahead, let's get it installed. We're going to use the black bolts. You also have to use Loctite on these, but we're going to do that after we kind of get it into position. But basically, what Brian was actually mentioning is shorten it as tight as it can go, or as small as it can go. So you want to put all the eyelets in all the way like that, and then kind of slide into place and kind of spin it so then it lines up with the bracket holes. So let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what to do next. So if you notice right here, the eyelet is not lining up. So if I kind of zoom in, you can see the hole is actually not lining up with that. So what we're going to do now is spin the bar so then that hole lines up. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put the bolt in for now. I'm not going to put the Loctite on until I'm ready to tighten everything down, but let me show you how to do that. So as you just saw, the hole is lined up now. Now we can slip the bolt through and just loosely put it in. All right, so we got the top bar, the top brace in. As you can see, everything is just loose right now, but it's still loose like that. So what you want to do actually now to kind of preload it, which we'll do in a little bit once we put the Loctite on and everything. I don't want to do it just yet, but you're going to spin the bar until everything gets tight. And then you kind of spin these and lock them down with the included tools. And that's basically how you set the preload. Now you don't have to do it tight or anything like that, just snug. You don't want to wrench these things too hard. This is anodized aluminum. You don't want to damage it. Granted, the tools provided won't damage it. You don't have to put too much preload. You just want them nice and snug. So we're actually going to be doing the same exact thing for the front V-brace here. Basically, just do the same thing, make it the smallest it possibly can go, and then twist it so then it lines up with the holes. And then we can go ahead and start putting the Loctite on and tighten everything down. So let me go ahead and throw those in, and then we can go ahead and tighten it all down. So we got the brace basically in. Now we just got to go ahead and do all of the torquing and tightening and everything. So what I'm actually going to do is actually tighten and torque down all of the little brackets on the side here. I'll put up on the screen the actual torque spec and everything that you need to do, but you just want to make sure this is straight as well, because there is some adjustability to move it back and forth. But for the most part, once you kind of line this up, it gets pretty centered anyway. There is some adjustment as well. These move back and forth. I'm just going to basically, so as you can see, it moves back and forth a little bit. I'm going to adjust them all the way back and then tighten those down. Same thing on the other side. And then we can pull these bolts back out, put some Loctite on them, torque them down, and then we can set the preload and tension on here. So almost done, but man, it looks incredible. It looks so much better than that piece over there, and it really, really ties everything together. All right, so we got all the brackets tightened down. Now we're actually going to put the included Loctite on the black bolts that's connecting the eyelets to each bracket. So I'm just gonna pull them out, put a little bit of blue Loctite on there, then tighten them down. All right, so we got all the brackets, everything tightened down to spec, and now we're actually going to torque or preload the bars. So as I mentioned, you just twist them until it actually gets snugged up. Then you're going to use the provided aluminum keys or tools that's provided with the kit. These will not damage the anodized pieces, so you don't have to snug them up too hard. Just make sure they're tight. Alright guys, the brace is fully installed, everything is torqued down, and everything is preloaded properly, so it looks absolutely incredible. It's crazy, we were just talking that once we put the carbon fiber engine cover on, the stock support brace stood out even more, since the carbon and the black, it contrasted even more, and you're able to notice it more, and it just looked uglier and uglier as every time we looked at it. So now that we got the carbon piece in here, it just looks so much better. It honestly just fits the car as it should for a car like this, and it just ties everything in together. But yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful piece. Install super simple, nothing crazy about it. If your mechanic skills are very low, you can definitely handle this. This is not anything hard. This took about, I don't know, 25-30 minutes, and that's with filming. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Huge shout out to Brian for obviously going through all the R&D to create this. If I had a G80, 100% I would be going with this bar, no question. I think it looks the best out of all the options out there, and this allows for, you know, any modifications in the future, such as a large single turbo. If you wanted to go that route, that's one of the reasons why they end up going with the tubular design, so you can fit a bigger turbo there. He eventually plans on doing an even cherry intake, so we're going to get the intake out of here one of these days, and it's going to fill up both of these kind of crevices, these holes here, and with more beautiful carbon, it's going to tie it in even more. So yeah guys, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to leave a link below for this strut brace. If you guys are looking to pick one up, you most certainly can, but that's going to do it for this one, guys. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below, but in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.